spilling all the beans. TJ and Campbell, interesting to the blood clot live on YouTube. You have to check them out.
Yeah. Welcome back to Akbarapam. This is Campbell,
This is TJ.
coming from the depths of Mami Water. Where are you, TJ?
I'm currently taking a hike.
That's it. That's it. So, please subscribe to our channel, share, like, comment, and make sure you click on that notification button so that you don't miss any of our interesting lives. So, today's topic is what is normal? Do you have a clue? Do you have an idea?
I don't. Every time you come with the topic,
Yeah.
you always say something that I'm not quite expecting,
Yeah.
or something that I have to process in a new way.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. This did come up for me this week. I actually thought about this question, but I'm just trying to clearly think. Basically, being not normal seems to be, in fact, what is normal.
Okay.
So I will leave it at that, see what you have to say, and then we'll see where we meet in the middle.
That's it. So, basically, this came after last week. I think somewhere in the middle of last week, I was just exploring different themes, and I went on TikTok. And now on TikTok, I saw that there was this whole conversation about ADHD. For those who might not be acquainted with ADHD, it's kind of a behavioral anomaly. Basically, what it is.
Attention deficit disorder.
Exactly.
Everyone must know.
Yeah, attention
By this point.
deficit disorder, ADHD. And it is, boys and girls do display some forms of ADHD, whether in milder forms or active forms, but mainly it's boys who are diagnosed with ADHD, and they're given.
I think I would have been diagnosed with ADHD if it was popular when I was a kid.
Right.
Because I know that I couldn't sit still, and I was always,
Yeah.
a lot of energy and running around.
Yes.
And then not being focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it is, the symptoms of ADHD is basically attention deficit. So you can't pay attention mainly in class or in a corporate environment or in an environment where your attention is required. You can't sit still, you can't get along with people. And there is also adult ADHD, which can manifest itself as someone who doesn't keep a stable job for long, doesn't get along with people, isolates himself, or maybe even gets into trouble quite easily. Right. So I was listening to this book, Normal Sucks. Right. And this was by a guy that apparently was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. So he didn't learn how to read until he was 12.
So I have dyslexia, by the way, also.
Right. Do you know, I would have also said the same thing a couple years ago because I really did not like reading. But we're going to get into it. So now he kind of explores the whole theme, and he goes about, look, the real meaning of norm basically comes from the Latin, which would be something close to norma, or something normalis. That's the word in Latin, normalis. And what it is, it's a carpenter's square to form a right angle. Right. That's literally where it comes from. But now, it was never applied in biology. It was always applied to objects. And so the author of this book now goes on to explain how basically this carpenter's tool now shape shifted from carpentry into biology at around the 19th or early 19th or early 20th century. So we're talking about the 1800s, 1900s. So during the all that colonial time and all of that, and it was basically the same tool that was used to measure skulls, human skulls. You remember? I don't know if you've looked into it, but there was a time where during the eugenics time, they were obsessed with measuring skulls and
Right.
seeing exactly, seeing the measurement of skull, which skull was belonging to what race, which race had which anomalies of skull. So during that time, the skull, now I would like our listeners to listen to the book and to go through the book without spoiling it for them. But basically, there's certain biologists that now take the measurements with this right angle, this tool called normalis, and they
Right.
now say, look, if it fits into this particular shape, this particular right angle shape that they have predefined, which was always the skull of Caucasians. Okay, if
Right.
it fits into this, it is normalis. It's normal. It fits
Okay.
with the tool. If it
Okay. So let
doesn't,
me just make sure I understand.
yes,
There's a tool. They started comparing skulls,
yes,
and they used this template to
yes,
fit the skulls into,
that's it.
and they would use a white person's skull
It was mainly what
and
they had,
say that,
Caucasians. Yes,
right, okay, and then if that skull fit into this template in a particular way,
that's it.
it was considered normal.
That's
So
it.
if it didn't fit into that thing,
It
it
was
would be considered
abnormal.
abnormal.
That's it.
Okay,
Outside of this pre-described tool. So we're still
okay,
talking
got
about
it.
a tool up to now. It's not come up to social, economic, moral, religious
Okay,
terms. Okay. So now slowly their association with the skull belonging to Western Caucasian society now started becoming okay, there must be something to this particular skull and the people who represent this skull that makes it normal. So then everything associated, like the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the people you hang out with, now they start associating all of those terms with normal. Okay.
right,
So then now normal, so the author basically makes a premise that is normal doesn't exist. You cannot define normal outside of the carpentry realm. If you're talking about tools, they might, you might have pre-planned measurements or stuff like that. But
yeah,
outside of
like
that,
90 degrees is 90 degrees,
exactly. But human
right? So we can
beings,
say that.
yes,
Yeah, right.
but human beings don't come like that. So
Or
now,
biology in general.
exactly, you cannot biologically, and now it's even more iconic because from there they were now in the pursuit of what is the ideal body, right? These biologists, all these
Okay,
scientists.
I feel I have to. I feel I have to ask a question though.
Okay,
Um, I mean, there are definitely what would you call things that the mass percentile of people all share in common. So it's not like there's a human with 3 legs over there and there's a human with 5 legs over there. Pretty much, humans have 2 legs,
right,
2 eyes, 10 hands, 10 fingers, 10 toes. There's
yes,
there's plenty of things that we can say. I
yes,
mean, there has to be something that is normal enough for us
yes,
to be categorized as human. So we can reproduce with each other with something that says we are the same.
right,
So in that sense, I guess that is a definition of normal, and it's how far down, the norm you can, because it's like a kid with ginger hair
Yeah.
might be bullied at school and
Yeah.
then grow up and say, why didn't I have normal hair?
Yes.
Well, that is now beyond the scope of the kind of differences I'm talking about.
Yes.
But he's still a human. He's still got, you know what I mean?
Yes. I totally get
So to
that
some
point. And
level,
yeah, I appreciate the devil's advocate. Now, the context would be normal to what? Normal in doing what? So if Einstein basically came out with I think it's a quote, and he said basically,
right.
if you want to measure the intelligence of a fish, if you have a fish, a chimp, a horse, a zebra, yeah, and you want to measure all of them, their intelligence by how quick they're able to climb up a tree, you're always going to have a stupid fish and a stupid zebra or horse. The chimp
Right.
is always going to be the brightest, right?
Yes.
So in that case, bringing it to your question or your statement, what would be normal, to what context? So if you have 3 legs and you have to wear a pre-described set of pants, of course you're not normal. You don't fit into 2-legged pants.
Right.
But if you have 3 legs and they are functional, fully functional, and maybe you have to take a hike like you're doing now, I mean,
Right.
it will come quite handy to have 3 legs. Or I'm just going on the extreme. But basically, what I learned from listening to this book is that normal doesn't exist. You always have to look for the context of what you are going to do, your area, your surrounding, and now you can say, okay, do I blend in or do I create my own normal? Right.
You know what? You know what's interesting
Yeah.
is what you brought up is the definition of intelligence.
Yeah.
Like the intelligent fish. If you do the test by climbing, the
Yeah.
example you made.
Yes.
So even to this day,
Yes.
there are those that debate what when you give someone an IQ,
Yeah.
what is it that we're testing there,
That's it. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Because what are the questions that you ask that person to
Yeah.
determine, and what exactly are you determining?
Yeah.
So even today, there's controversy over like exactly what is that IQ
Yeah.
and how it's determined and what questions will be. So IQ. There might be someone that can't read and write.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, okay, allow me to interject with a story.
All right.
That's a quick story.
That's it. Go on.
So you may have heard various versions of this, but the one I know comes from The King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss,
Okay.
which has stories inside of stories.
Okay.
So the book is about a guy telling his life story.
Yeah.
And then while he's telling his life story, there are times when he tells a story within the story.
Okay.
So it's like the story can be 3 or 4 levels deep.
Okay.
One of the stories he tells within a story is regarding a time when he's in a university.
Yeah.
And he's ravenous for information and knowledge.
Right.
And one of the professors at the university said, one of the masters at the university says, you need to take a break, go
Right.
into the world, go and enjoy yourself for a little while, and then come back and continue your studies. You're overdoing it here at the university.
Right.
And he kind of remonstrates. So the master tells this story. He says that there's a river, and there's a wealthy, well-educated man,
Yeah.
and he needs to go from one side of the river
Right.
to the other side of the river. And there is a boatman that his job is to ferry people across the river.
Okay.
So the educated man gets inside the boat and he starts talking to the ferryman.
Yes.
And he says, what books have you read?
Right.
And the guy said, not really much one for reading. I haven't read any books. In fact, I can't read.
All right.
And he's like, you can't read? And then he's like, no, I can't read. And then he says, well, have you ever, studied any of the great mathematicians?
Right.
And he says, no, I mean, no, not really one for maths. I don't You know, I didn't really go to school. I didn't really educate myself in that way. You know, blah blah. So the guy kind of the educated guy's feeling a sense of superiority.
Right.
And then as they're going across the water,
Yeah.
the boat starts to rock and become unsteady, and the storm brews. So the storm brews, and it's threatening to capsize the boat.
Yeah.
So the ferryman says, right, you know, you're going to have to swim. There's nothing we can do. The boat is going to be lost.
That's it.
So the boat capsizes, and guess who survives?
It's just the fisherman.
Just the ferryman
The
and the other
ferryman,
guy,
yeah.
you know, on his high horse. You know, he never took the time with all of his education and everything just to learn the simple thing of swimming.
Yes.
But of course, the ferryman, you know, can swim, swim the lights out, can swim as much as he needs to, and can swim to survive. So who's the more intelligent in that boat? You know, it's the question.
Yeah. Like you've said now, and I think this story puts it eloquently. It's the context. What are you presented to do? So you remember in our previous episodes, we were talking about Aleister Crowley and how he was talking about this theory of Thelema. Everyone has his purpose. Everyone has his destiny. If you don't embrace that, then your destiny is overlapping, or you're kind of taking on someone else's goal. So then there's a conflict of interest. But if you do what you have been prescribed and what you feel within to do, you are already armed with the talents to do that. You are adequate enough to do that thing that you were born to do, right?
Yeah.
So now coming back to the author, and he talks about having ADHD and having dyslexia, and he struggles to stay attentive in class. He has issues at home with his family. Basically, it's not a normal setting according to what we would say is Western principles. You know, mom and dad, each having a 9 to 5, having siblings, going to school, coming back, doing sports, and etc. etc. His life was totally odd. This made me think about. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD or dyslexia, none of that. I don't think Italy was that ahead of it when I was growing up. But what I realized was that I did not enjoy reading, right? So when I came to the UK, I tried to grab a book and I was just like, nah, I can't. I don't like doing this, right? But I realized I didn't like reading Alice in Wonderland. I didn't like reading, I don't know, Charles Dickens. I did not enjoy those literatures. So something happened when I was even younger, right? I would, sometimes I would ditch school and go around with my friends. So one of my favorite places that I knew I would never get caught was the library. Right? There's no way I will find a parent, auntie in the library. It's not their place. So I remember being in the library and I was just scouting through these books. You know, you eventually kind of start looking through books, and I found this book. This is I found a book on prostitutes. Right.
In the library. And you went and you devoured cover to cover.
Bro, I still know the names of till this day, bro. I found a book on the biography of, it was various prostitutes. So you had like African prostitutes. They're basically talking about their trip to Europe, how they were scammed into, you know, a promise of a job, but then they had to come on the street, and how some of them actually enjoyed what they were doing, as opposed to some that wanted to get. Bro, I would sit down and my friends would come to me like, "You're actually reading. You're dumb. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're meant to be chilling here, going from room to room, pop out a bit, come back." I literally read through all of that book, bro. and I didn't realize it. And then it came to me that, look, now when I was way older here in the UK, that I had always been given literature that I did not enjoy. I don't want to know how many parts of a plant there are. I don't want to know
Right.
about photosynthesis and all this boring stuff.
Right.
So then I started exploring the themes that I liked: religion, conspiracy stuff, self-development issues. And I realized that although I found some sort of resistance, because I can't brace through 20 pages without feeling tired in some way, but when I grasped like a topic that was quite interesting, I was able to read through it. So then I realized, okay, so in school I was told, look, because you don't like reading, you're not normal. Right? Because you don't read fast enough like other kids, you've got a problem. Yeah, you need to practice on that. But what was happening to me was that I did not enjoy that setting. I did not enjoy that literature. But now we're going to come to ADHD now. And basically, what the author says is that before society organized itself into cities that we are today, we used to be hunters and gatherers, right? You had a set of people that were just, farmers, dealt with agriculture, and then you had a set of people that moved with the migration of, I don't know, the bisons, the elephants, the zebras, and so forth. And these people were hunters. So our DNA over millions of years has been hardwired to do this exact tasks, to hunt. You are basically a caveman hunter with a spear and shield, running after zebras, gazelles in the jungle. After millions,
So
yeah,
let's put that time into context for
Yeah.
those that want to know. So there's different estimates on how long humans in the current form Homo sapiens have been around.
right,
So some say anywhere from sort of 200,000 years to 350,000 years, right? So we can debate that, but let's just call it 250,000 years.
yes,
So imagine there's a book with 250,000 pages,
yeah,
right? 12,000 of those years
yeah,
is agriculture and
That's
modern
it.
life.
that's it,
So, and agriculture, modernity only came in the last, few hundred years, you could say.
I would
So,
say the Industrial Revolution, yeah,
industrial, okay, so let's call it 150 years.
that's it,
So then for 12,000 years, out of 250,000 years,
yeah,
only 12,000 years, 250,000 minus 12,000 is how long we spent as hunter-gatherers.
that's it. We're still around 230-ish years.
I'm glad you
30,000
did the
years.
maths.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did the maths. And if you want to count humans that were maybe not Homo sapiens, but
Yeah.
some other type of, Homo Neanderthal,
yeah,
Homo Naneti, Homo, all of these other types of humans,
Australopithecus, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Then you can start getting into millions of years
That's it.
old
That's it.
humans. So for the majority of the time we've been humans, we have been shaped by the fact that, evolutionarily wise,
Yeah.
we've been shaped by the fact that we were hunter and gatherers.
And we've adapted on the
And we've
DNA
adapted,
level
so
to that environment, to being out, sleeping out under the sun, under the stars, in tents, running
harsh
after this.
conditions,
That's it.
hot conditions,
That's it.
in forests, in plain lands,
So
in the
now,
mountains, in the lowlands, in the
imagine,
sea.
yeah, you're bathing outside, you're eating berries on the way, you're gnashing on, I don't know, a sheep's thigh that is in your pouch.
There is no hoarding of resources.
There you
All
go.
you've got is what you carry and
That's
what you
it.
can hold for today.
And you
Everything
actually, yeah, You actually have to carry the least possible because so it doesn't drag you down.
Right.
Right. So now after all these years, and we've seen the maths comes to about 230, 220,000 years of doing this as opposed to 13,000 years now adapting to this modern, quote unquote modern lifestyle. Now, imagine what would mean for someone who had adapted for all these years, these thousands of years, to being a hunter. And now you expect him to conform to sitting down still for 8 hours, 5 to 6 to 7, 8 hours in a classroom, looking straight blank at a board. It's mental.
So, question:
Yeah,
some people can handle that.
that's 100% true. Yeah, that is for some
So,
people.
so is it the majority that? Okay, so handling it and it being healthy for us, I guess, is two different things.
Yeah, that's another ball game.
Yeah.
I
So
guess, yeah, go on.
are we? So we're this is an evolutionary pressure that we're
That's it.
placing on ourselves.
That's
So
it.
over time, we will change ourselves in some way if we continue, a different behavior. Because at some point, with every year that goes on, we eat into that 250,000 years
Yes, that is
with
true.
something new.
But then, so the example that comes to my mind is the amygdala, right? Our lizard
Yep.
brain, and how it's adapted over the years to harsh and foreign conditions, hostile conditions, right? So if you heard, I don't know, something creeping in the grass in the
Mm-hmm.
savannah, you would be on alert because it could be a tiger, a lion,
Yep.
or something
Yep.
that could hurt you, right? So
Yep.
our survival instinct has had to adapt to that, and it has brought us to today. Now, what does it look like today? Today it looks like if you don't have a job, or maybe your funds in your bank account are low, or you have a direct debit that hit and now you're negative, you go
Mm-hmm.
into that same survival mode. But you are not in the jungle, you're not in the savannah, you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
have those mechanisms that have to keep you alive from actual danger. This has now become something that has been taught to you, but then you've had to adapt, and you're using old mechanisms to now adapt to the new style. So now, in answer to your question is, we might adapt to this, but then we don't know what's going to be there in the future, what would be
Mm.
required of us in the future. And for example, since we're still in the topic, with the with the cash revolution that is going on now today, imagine if you're able to print as much money as you want, and you had that money available for you. You had food, you had everything for you. What would be the scariest thing then?
So what you're saying is that we've created a synthetic hunter.
That's it.
We've bypassed the synthetic desire to
Yeah,
hunt,
yeah,
um, with this sort of economy of money
yes,
and cash that we've
yeah,
created.
yeah.
Um,
So then that
yes.
the next scare we okay, so today it would be going out to work and having enough money in the bank account to take
Yeah.
care of all the needs and everything. But if you didn't have to go out and work anymore, and you could
Hmm.
print your money from I don't know, your machine,
Right.
your virtual machine, and
If
all
you
of
if
that.
you just had a cash machine
Yeah,
that nobody knew about,
that's it.
that every day would give you an abundance of cash,
Yeah,
if you broke the system
yeah,
somehow,
yeah.
you're saying you now get cash for free somehow.
You're able to, with the technology that is coming up with blockchain, you're able to go through all of these mechanisms and print your own money. Money is not a problem anymore. We will
Right,
still
right, right.
have this survival instinct of today, of
Yes.
of the direct debit of your credit card being declined. We will still have these programs that have been written into, I don't know, from my grandparents all through me into my grandchildren.
Yes.
These programs will still be running. So now we would still worry about things that do not matter, and
Yep.
we will still find ourselves not conforming to what the future, future height guys demands from zeitgeist. Sorry, demands from us.
So I'm missing something there.
Yeah.
I'm missing something there. The penny's not landing.
Right.
Can you explain it again? So we've gone through evolution,
Yeah.
and we're designed because of the pressures of evolution. We've become we are born hunters and gatherers, and we're born to use our reptile brain, our instincts, and all of these things.
That's
and
it.
then in a short period of time, the societal norm has meant we
Yeah.
completely change our behavior.
That's it.
I'm with you up until then.
Yeah.
Now you're saying, so now you made a further point about if we could have all the money in the world,
Yeah.
we would still, if we could get money easily and we were fulfilled in terms of we have abundance of food,
Yeah.
shelter, and all of the baseline Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
which is what hunting and gathering was all about. It was
That's
about
what it
fulfilling
is.
those needs.
Yeah.
So let's say, so we fulfill the bottom level
Yeah.
of Maslow's hierarchy, maybe a bit higher even,
Yeah.
and then what? So, but we're not doing it through the activities we did before.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so then make your next point.
So that was, I digressed. That was in response to your question, and your question was basically, we are still going to eat into the difference in years that we've done so much of hunting and gathering, and now we're doing classroom working. We're now doing a whole digital thing now. So
the digital landscape,
exactly,
is changing us
yeah,
in our own
exactly,
lifetime.
yeah.
Like
So
ridiculous.
yeah, basically, this is going to eat into those 200,000 years that we'd been out in the open. So then, what I was trying to paint a scenario that basically in the future, in the next, I don't know, 100, 200 years or whatever, it's going to change yet again. But it's like our body is not going to keep up with this change. We'll still have these programs of today written into our DNA. So what that would look like is still panicking over how much money we actually have when money is not even an issue. Because the technology that is being introduced today is basically revolutionizing everything. So we don't know what it's going to look like in years to come.
It's not. I think it's not just money. I think it's technology in general. I mean,
That's yeah. But
like I used to easily sit down and watch a movie at home.
right,
Before phones were invented,
that's it.
and just happily sit there with nothing in my hand, no other thoughts, just watching a movie.
Just consume it. Yeah,
I don't think on my own in my house,
yeah,
I could sit down and watch a movie without reaching for my phone, without doing some other little task,
Yeah.
or without pausing the movie, doing something else, and coming back.
that's true.
Like, technology that is like almost invoking what they would call ADHD,
That's it.
like
Yeah,
attention span.
yeah. But now, bringing it back full circle with the topic today, what is normal? Now, if everyone kind of, there are some people facing different challenges today. There's people who have like mental health issues. There's people who have some form of undiagnosed ADHD. People who have dyslexia. People who have borderline bipolar disorder, and all of these things, right? All of these different things. What if these are not actual? These are just the
Disorders.
symptoms. Yeah, these are not disorders, but these are basically people out of their context. They are out of what they are supposed to be doing. So now the body, in adaptation to their new environment, is now displaying this, which we would now interpret today as a disorder, because you're meant to sit down for 12 hours at the desk doing one repetitive task. That is what the big guys on top demand from us to make money. But
So that this rings very true
yeah,
in my life,
right.
because being diagnosed dyslexic at school,
Yeah,
I was, somewhat explained. It was explained to me somewhat, about dyslexia.
yeah,
So the idea is that if you
yeah,
have a sheet of paper with writing on it, like paragraphs, lines,
yeah.
like no pictures.
Right,
Um, Majority of people can still cleanly process that information,
right.
but the way a dyslexic's mind works, it's instead of being able to follow the pattern of the writing,
Right.
it's kind of like searching for images. It's processing that information in a different way.
That's it.
So the letters start moving in places. We start creating a new, it's like, when a camera is out of focus
That's it.
and it's trying to zoom in and zoom
Yeah.
out and zoom in to
Yeah.
catch the focus.
I know that. Yeah.
So imagine like someone's reading
Yeah.
and they can easily process the lines, but for someone with dyslexia, the process
It's
in which
all
your brain
blurred.
is trying to
Yeah.
it's just so much harder.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily manifest in actual blurring,
Right.
but the way your brain has to work in order to catch
Yeah.
the meaning and understanding
Yeah.
is much harder. So that is a percentage of the population.
Yeah.
A certain percentage of the population will always have it. So if you're so the reason dyslexia is kind of called something, a
Yeah.
disorder or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
is because it's a description for those that can't follow what most people find easy to digest, writing
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it was pictures and graphs and shapes or
You
sounds,
chew that up.
they would process information at a better rate
There you go.
than
There you go.
than the others. So that is the context. It has no bearing on intelligence.
And that would still be learning for them. I
Yes.
did tell you that I went to therapy with this counselor. I went to do some counseling with her, and one of
Yes.
the tests that she had me do was a test on my way of processing information, and it's basically divided into three parts: audio, visual, and kinetic. So audio you learn by hearing, visual you learn by seeing, and kinetic you learn by doing, touching, feeling, and kind of having a gut feeling about stuff, right? And it came out that highest among all of the things, I was kinetic. I kind of learned more by doing, seeing, and touching, right? And then visual came after, and then audio like came way below. So I don't listen to what people tell me, basically. And this made me understand that for the longest part of my life, that is what I've been relying on, but it was out of place. I was out of that place. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do with that way of processing
You
information.
were not living within your context.
Exactly. So then I was always coming across as, you're not normal, mate. Like, you're different. How are you doing? Like, can you not see? Did you not hear what was going on? And I don't learn things. I don't process things that way. So
Yeah.
it just now became a call to action for me that I need to find my context. I need to find my world. I don't know if that makes sense. I need to find my own domain. I need to find my own reality, because of course I'm gonna keep losing. Of course I'm gonna keep being the weird one. Of course I'm gonna keep being that kind of person, because I can't function properly, reading a 300 page book out loud and etc. So yeah, it was just one of those topics I wanted to bring on, talk about. And
So I once listened to a lecture
yeah,
about, and it was done by a woman that was autistic.
yeah,
So I've got a question for you.
right,
Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think the answer is.
right.
How can you diagnose, or can you clearly define the things that make someone autistic? Go.
I've read a bit on it, but I don't think I even still understand what autism is, because the more I read on it, the more I was actually thinking maybe I'm in an autism spectrum. I belong to one of them. It's so generic, I can't tell. But
Okay.
yeah,
So what I'm getting at is the lady that was speaking,
yeah,
she said a lot of interesting things.
right,
She said, if you have cancer,
yeah,
everyone that has cancer has the same problem
right,
and the same symptoms. It might be in a different location in the body, but you have malignant cancer, you have maybe 2 or 3 types of cancer,
yeah,
but it's the same thing. There's a mutation of cells.
yeah,
Okay, so if you have a heart attack, everybody knows what that is.
yeah,
If you have whatever the illness is,
yeah,
high blood pressure, go down all of the illnesses.
yeah,
But with autism, you can have someone that like is really sensitive to sound. Then you've got someone that can't speak,
yeah,
and then you've got someone that can remember every date for the last, in a
right,
crazy
yeah,
stable way.
yeah,
Then you have someone that is all sorts of symptoms,
yeah,
all sorts of things.
yeah,
And what she said is they don't know what autism is.
yeah,
If they don't understand your behavior,
yeah,
they just call you autistic.
autistic, yeah,
Say you're on the spectrum. So
yeah,
it's those that are in their own category,
yeah,
and they've just said this is a miscellaneous category,
yeah,
right? You have some behavior issues, you have some whatever. You could be in this category,
yeah,
but there's a guy that is like he just sees there's an
Yeah.
artist, and
okay,
he can just see a skyline,
and then
he can
recreate it, yeah,
remember every single brick,
detail, yeah,
in
yeah, I
detail.
see that one, yeah,
Not everyone with autism could do that.
yeah, yeah,
So okay, so what she said is she said some more interesting things. She said they need to study me
yeah,
and understand, like, maybe I have a way of being conscious
yeah,
or understanding consciousness
yeah,
that you don't understand. And one of the things that she does, or she has,
yeah,
is that she says that she can have dreams
yeah,
in whilst awake
yeah,
that are just as real as the real world,
like lucid
and
dreams,
like lucid dreams during the day. The other thing is she said that when you're a child,
yeah,
you explore,
yes,
you roll,
yes,
you jump, you touch, you feel, you do all of this stuff,
yes,
and then they teach you over time.
yeah,
You must sit still,
yeah,
sit down for assembly, cross your legs, stand, conform,
Yeah.
conform.
yeah,
And she said that she is just a child that has never conformed. So she said, you don't understand why I need to still roll on the floor as an adult,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
have to roll on the floor because I have to be true to myself.
yeah,
And no one, and you will call me crazy for it, but I
That's-
think you're crazy for stopping yourself from
from doing
investigating,
it, yeah,
rolling on the floor.
yeah,
And it's so, the feeling to do it, the compulsion to do it is so powerful
yeah,
that I will do it in the middle of the mall, in the middle of a doctor's appointment, in the middle of a church,
yeah,
and everyone will call me crazy for it.
yeah,
So it was a new spin and a new definition on
on autism,
on autism.
yeah,
And I just thought, what you're talking about is this thing.
yeah,
What is the context?
yeah,
What is the context?
yeah,
She
Yeah.
said that she's working. So she said her brother was also diagnosed as autistic.
yeah,
And she said that they can communicate to each other
right,
without speaking,
right,
through thought.
right,
And she said, most of you won't believe me. Most people don't believe me. But she said, I spend now all of my time
yeah,
trying to figure out how I can communicate through thought with me and my brother. And now maybe she is crazy, who knows?
but still,
what is
why
she-
are we using, what would crazy mean? Crazy mean not in the norm,
Right. Right. But exactly, what if she opens it up? What if
Yeah.
what if that is What if that is how some previous ancestors,
Boom.
before we knew how to do that? You know, we discount that offhand because you know we've got this modern context.
Yeah.
But what do we know? What do we really know about like thousands that lived thousands
of years ago, before some idiot started measuring skulls and then said, look, now the way of life of these certain people that have adapted to this and that has to become the norm for the rest of the planet. Now I will shift the conversation to a higher level now, still in the same theme, and that is, are we being normalized to idiocy, or are we being normalized to a higher place? My suspicion is that we're being normalized, to an idiotic baseline.
I'm not ready to roll with you on that as such.
Okay.
Evolution is a funny thing.
Yeah.
And progress does not go in a straight line.
Right.
It goes in waves, and those waves mean that even though we might be on an uptrend, in the context of a broader wave,
right,
we right now may be on a downtrend.
Yeah.
Now, evolution has a funny way, and life has a funny way of moving forward, man.
Right.
So, one of the things that we're doing is we're relying, or actually we're merging with technology.
Yeah.
We're merging with the tools that we make.
Yeah.
We're merging with the tools that we make. So the spear, the primitive tools that the cavemen would make. You know, tie a rock on the end of a stick. We have now a club or a spear.
Yeah.
You know, the advancement of that over the millennia or over time is an iPhone.
That's it.
It's the internet. Is all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I used to have a time when I knew 30 telephone numbers off my head. I knew all my friends' telephone numbers. I knew my home number. I knew my grandparents' number. I knew emergency numbers. I knew, all of these phone numbers. I could just recall them anytime I wanted. Yeah. Because I needed them, and it was necessary to know all these numbers.
Yeah.
I just about know my number now.
Yeah.
And I know the emergency services because it's 3 digits.
That's it.
Now, is that devolution or is that evolution? When the number is stored in something now I couldn't remember as much as the phone numbers that I have stored in my phone. Right. Which is in the hundreds. Yeah. Right now. Yeah. I suppose I could with effort, but you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
It's taken a burden off me.
Yes.
I couldn't do the mathematical calculations that I can do. And when that phone enters my body and becomes some chip or some thing, what happens then? I also was thinking about productivity recently.
Right. Yes.
And I just know that, if I could perform at a crazy high level, if I just between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Just ruthlessly banged out every single thing I know I have to do. Edit this audio, do this thing for work, on my break do that, just continuously. But I take lots and lots and lots of breaks. I don't feel like doing that today. Let me just go and eat something. Let me just go and this. And I get stuff done, but I don't get it done like I know I got it done if I was moving like a robot, right? Yeah. So what if you could just switch off the part of your brain that needs to kind of feel comforted and all of the stuff that makes you want to sit down and relax? Mm-hmm. What if you could switch that off for a period? Yeah. Get on with what you needed to do remorselessly. Yeah. And then, come 6 p.m., switch back on your normal settings. Yeah. Relax in front of the TV, knowing that you've accomplished. Yeah. What you would usually accomplish in 4 days, you've accomplished in 1. Yeah. Because you kind of just banged out everything you need to do. Yeah. Or maybe that would be a form of hypnotizing. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not yet clear to me and this is understanding that you may be thinking of the context of things like the stuff, the general bullshit that we see on social media.
That's it. Yeah.
The nonsense noise of drivel and trash and tragedy.
Yeah.
And death by 1,000 microaggressions.
Yeah.
That we see on social media day in, day out. Like I was watching, I got drawn into a pro-life versus pro-choice rally conflict.
Okay.
Or I watched about, I don't know, 3 minutes of it. And just, not even 3 minutes, a minute of it.
Yeah.
And just in that thing, I felt hot, I felt frustrated, I felt angry, I felt like, and we are feeding ourselves this bullshit dopamine.
Yeah.
And it's doing something bad to us. Yeah. Maybe, yes, I would agree with you. That is doing something bad to us.
Yeah.
And the effects of that, I don't know. Also, things like online dating and the way we mate, it's becoming worse and worse. So they now know that the gamification of dating and the way that we meet and mate is breeding narcissism and loneliness.
Right.
And the inability to form genuine relationships.
I agree.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Like they know that now.
That's what's happening. Yeah. Just look at what the themes and the conversations people are having right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is not good for us. That is like in 100 years' time, in 50 years' time, in 20 years' time. Yeah. That's like, okay, we're not mating with each other anymore. We're not like having kids.
Yeah.
We're becoming extinct.
Extinct, yeah.
And we've already slowing down that. Yeah. I don't know if you know, Japan is like one of the most advanced countries for that. They just the men like, and the women just cannot mate, couple at the same way that they used to. And loads of men are dying alone, and loads of women are dying alone. And their replacement rate of life is not there. Final stat I'll give you. I think every year for the last 5 years, adult nappies have outsold baby nappies.
Mad. That is crazy.
So look, you might be right. We may have hit peak human. We may have hit peak evolution. But there, in the other things I mentioned first, this sort of ability to like leverage tech and leverage AI, and things like that. Maybe we're just getting started. What happens when we can go into space? What happens if we meet extraterrestrials? We know they're talking about that right now.
You see, I don't have a problem with all of that. Sorry to barge in.
Go on. No. Go.
I don't have a problem with any of those things, right? But what I'm seeing is that the norm, and I repeat, we are not deciding what is normal. If I wanted to go back into the savannah, born naked, and start hunting giraffes, I would be fined for doing that. Something that I decide is now normal for me. So we're still not having our own decisions. Is that if you want to chip?
If you went and hunted giraffes, I would hope you would be fine. I'm just making a joke.
But why is that? But if that's what I felt like doing, and I'm even good at doing that.
Giraffes. Come on, giraffes. Say something that we,
Yeah, but what if I was good at doing it? Because there's people taking licenses just to shoot wildlife and not even take it anywhere. Just leave it there, and trophies. You just take pictures and move on. Pay $50K.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to now survive as I was doing in the hunter-gatherer years, I would still not be allowed to do it because, oh no, you need to get a job, you need to start conforming in the direction. It's fine. If you want a microchip that makes you super effective, super productive, 24/7, mate, knock yourself out. But what if that is not the thing for everybody? And that's what the whole thing I'm trying to introduce today is on various, it's all over the place, but they're trying to make normal this one thing that they decide is normal. Maybe it's not normal for me.
I do think that there is a, a backlash against this normal. I think
Yeah.
we're no longer at what I would say 90s, 2000
Oh no, we've gone
office.
past that. Yeah, we've gone
Yeah,
way past that. Yeah, I do
I think
realize we've gone past that. Yeah.
every kid has at least the desire to do some kind of creative job. Well,
Yes.
not every kid, but like everyone is aware that like there are these other options.
Yeah.
Not everyone has figured their way there,
Yeah.
but I think at least people fantasize
Yeah.
about
There's a lot
how
of people that are expressing their what they would like to do in an open way. Technology is facilitating that. I'm aware of this. But I still see that in that there is still a direction that is not being decided. Because
well, I think there's a pressure from governments
yeah,
for
exactly.
you to be a contributing
Yes, yeah.
docile
Make the
battery.
system work. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
You still
And
do what you want to
why?
do, but still make it work. Now let's go into something that is still in the theme of today and is happening right now in the UK.
Yeah.
Train strikes, right?
Yes.
The unions have decided, together with the train operators, to take some industrial action, right? So
Yes.
there are going to be, there was a couple train strikes, I think, from the beginning of the week. That was
Hmm.
Monday, Tuesday, something went on Wednesday, and then tomorrow again, there's going to be an organized train strike now.
Apparently, there's going to be some airport strikes as well.
Right. So now, this is in response to the hike in food prices, the cost of living, everything's basically gone up, petrol, everything except the wages. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I heard different sides of the argument. People that were basically saying, look, it's not fair for those who want to get away from fuel prices and take the public transport, because now they are stuck trying to, get to work with their cars or whatever means they have alternative to public
Another
transport,
means.
right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have people who have seen, I mean, the railway, for example, is just an example of a sector that has made profits of 800 million, something like that. But these profits have only been shared between the top managers, the owners, and the shareholders, right? But now the actual people that are working on the railway are not due for any pay rise, because, and this is where it gets even more interesting, because if their pay rise goes up, if they go from, this is an example, if they go from £10 an hour to £12 an hour, it's going to further increase inflation. The percentage of inflation that is already hiking up is going up in the UK, right? So why isn't the 800 million profit doing anything to inflation? Why is it the actual normal worker, and I'm using the word normal in the context of people who are not in the middle upper class but people in the working class that are making it work, why are there no profits? Why is there increase in living standard a problem to inflation, whereas when profits are made from their labor, is a booming economy? You see the direction they're taking with this, what is normal, until tube strikes happen, and then, oh right, you're not meant to do that, you're not meant to do this, you're not meant to do that. I guess it's very long-winded, but what I'm trying to say is that someone somewhere has decided not to fit in, right? And it's not favorable to the powers that be. They kind of, you always have to fit in. So when you can always decide not to, in some shape or form. But now what does that look like for someone, okay, that is not, it's not, driving the trains in his own daily life? If he wants to step out of what, he's been given as normal, what does that look like? How does he do that? A lot of
So
people feel stuck. Yeah,
there's a recalibration take place
right.
of of the supply and demand of work,
Right.
the way we value it,
Uh-huh.
the way we pay distribution,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a real life, ongoing, complex game of Monopoly happening on Earth at all times.
Thank you.
Right.
That's it.
So the problem is, there are many problems, and it is complex.
Yeah.
But I think one of the root issues is that the way in which we create,
Yeah.
manage,
Yeah.
and distribute currency
Yeah.
is mathematically designed
Yeah.
to funnel money up,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
it's created with debt,
Yeah.
and it will never.
Yeah.
The debt will never be repaid.
It's not meant
And
to be repaid. Yeah.
It's not meant to be repaid.
Yeah.
And there, one day, a reckoning will come.
Yeah.
There's some type of collapse. One day, a debt is the promise
Yeah.
to pay in the future.
That's it.
And when that obligation is broken,
Yeah.
bad things happen. Like, it's not just a promise to pay in the future. Money is a energy battery.
Okay.
Money is if you work all day and you get paid for that day,
Right.
that money that you got paid for that day represents the labor and toil that you went through of that day.
That's it.
But it's now stored in energy called money, which you will then go and spend.
Yeah.
So if the money that you've stored in energy, in your toil, is worth less and less while it's sitting in its battery, while it's not being spent, which is what inflation is.
That's it.
Which is how it is designed. Your toil is just becoming worth less and
over
worth
the years.
less
That's it.
over the years, over time, and if they're talking about 11% inflation here in the UK,
Bro.
Like it takes, I don't know how many years, but it doesn't take long. If you have $100 for £100 or $100, for that 100 to become worth $1, just over a few years, if the inflation rate is at 10%.
Yeah.
I think at 15%, it halves every 7 years.
That's crazy. Countries like Germany are going on 33% inflation.
Well, you know what? That number, percent of inflation as well, is also a bullshit number.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, if you measure your money in watches, like watches. So okay. Let me qualify that statement. I have to buy bread and milk.
Right.
Bread and milk cost $1 last year.
Yeah.
Now bread and milk costs $2.
Yeah.
So just for the two items, bread and milk, inflation is 50% because it doubled in 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are some things, I don't know what, maybe hamster food.
Yeah.
That has only gone up 1% in a year.
Yeah.
And then there's some things that have gone up 100% in a year.
Yeah.
For example, my parents live in the countryside.
Yeah.
They have this oil tank that is submerged on their property,
right,
and it gets filled up once a year, and that oil powers the house, provides some of the power of the house,
right,
for a year. Now they have solar panels, so they don't really use that much of that oil, so it takes a year to completely drain that oil.
Right.
Last year it cost them £700 to fill up their oil.
Right.
This year it costs £2,000. So for them, the cost of energy
it's gone up 150%.
It's gone up 150%. So that is the inflation price of that particular oil. So when they throw out 11%, 12%, they don't even feature some things that we need. So if you're going to like eat ramen noodles,
Yeah.
right, and live in a tent,
Yeah.
inflation doesn't really bother you because you
Yeah.
only have to pay for your ramen noodles,
That's it.
and
Yeah.
ramen noodles are going up. You know, it's negligible how much they're going to go up. It's always going to be cheap.
Yeah.
But if you have to pay for university, if you have to pay for oil, if
That
you want
is
to buy a
what. Yeah.
Rolex,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like those things are skyrocketed in price. So it depends what you have to pay for.
Yeah.
And now we are getting to a tremor, what I would call a tremor,
Mm.
in what is an inevitable
Yeah.
revolution.
So
The inevitable revolution, such as the French Revolution, where one day everybody that can't get food
yeah,
says
who's going
it's
to
more
fight?
favorable. Yeah, it's more favorable to cut down those that won the game of Monopoly
That's it.
than it is to keep on trying to survive in squalor.
That's it. That's literally. Look, to bring it back to the topic, right? What is normal? This was normal up until, I would say, the pandemic. No one was really looking into this except for a few people, right?
Right.
But now everyone is kind of waking up to it. People are trying to break away. You have those who are kind of attempting to break away. You have those who are trying to fight it, and you have those who are okay with it. They're just like, you know what, this is what it is. I'm fine with it. Now, I guess the question is rhetorical. I might have answered it before, but the way forward, is this still the technology? Is technology still the answer? Because I think that culturally there must be a fix that has to happen. Like,
I
even,
totally agree.
yeah, culturally we have to kind of say, look, maybe we're wrong on certain things and we have to make amends, but I don't know what this looks like.
So if I make a sword
Yeah.
is technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm the first one to make a sword,
Yeah.
then if I'm not spiritually, emotionally balanced,
Yeah.
I just go down and hack people to death.
That's it.
But if I've got a sword there and I'm spiritually, emotionally imbalanced,
Yeah.
that technology of the sword just
Yeah.
becomes something that
Progress.
protects me,
That's it.
that helps my family make sure animals don't come and eat us
That's it.
or whatever. So it's the technology comes after the technology is the tool.
Yeah. The moral value,
comes
principles have to be
Yeah.
at the very core.
With the way things are moving,
Yeah.
we as society have decided to abandon a sort of spiritual journey in many ways.
Agree.
Most people live totally secular.
That's it.
They think that there is no consequences for their actions,
Yeah.
sort of beyond a certain realm,
Yeah.
and they live for themselves
Yeah.
before they live for the world,
Yeah.
before they live for the greater good.
Yeah.
And that is the true. I mean, that is the motivation for
Yeah.
someone to
Yeah.
play the game of Monopoly
That's
and
it.
tilt the game in their favor
Yeah.
at the cost of everybody else's happiness.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. What is the answer? I don't know. But those that know need to live by example.
Yeah. I guess
everyone.
the answer is not what is going on now. This what we're doing, or maybe trying to, I don't know, because you see, there are some that argue that, oh, maybe going vegan, going green, but there's a cultural cancer that monetizes everything that is the zeitgeist. So if we're going green, if we're going vegan, if we're going solar panels,
Co-opted.
that's it. The culture will still make that look. Now the price will get hiked up because I don't know, cobalt or whatever material, cellulite, that is used to produce these panels is in high demand. So someone wants to make more money now.
Yeah. or they will take advantage of
Exactly.
those
Yeah. Let's
that
make more profit.
yes. So
Let's
an
hoard
example of
more.
this
Yeah.
is sustainable clothing.
Right. Yeah.
So people want to wear sustainable clothing. So I think there is a shop. I don't know if it was New Look or H&M or one of these shops.
Yeah.
I do not say it's any of those in case I don't know. One day they come for me because I can't remember the facts.
Right.
So I'm just speculating, but I know that there is a shop, a
Yeah.
large chain shop, and they had the label in all of their clothes saying sustainable.
Yeah.
The problem was that it was only the label that was made of sustainable material,
Look at that.
and legally they were able to say that,
Yeah.
but the whole garment was not
Was not
sustainable,
sustainable. But
and
they
it's
that's
disingenuous
cheeky,
because
man.
obviously people are looking
Yeah.
at the thing saying, "Oh, this is sustainable,"
Yeah.
when it's not, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
exact type of manipulation for
Yeah.
profit for margin.
Yeah.
I think that the
Yeah.
taking advantage of the sort of
Yeah.
attempt for
Yeah.
someone to make a
Yeah.
positive step.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you agree with me if I make this statement that in today's world, normal means to the profit of someone? It's not just for the sake of doing it out of, I don't know, magnanimity, out of love. It must have some profit centered motivation. That is what is
Um,
normal today.
normal is normal is that there is always some self-serving element in the actions of
It
every
can be
man.
that it can be monetized. We can find
Well,
it brings money in the bank.
it may not just be money. It may be social status. It may be some other some other way to gain.
I'm just
But
taking
it's
for
there is
example that lady you talked about that had this autism
Mhm,
spectrum that she needs to
mhm,
roll on the ground, right?
mhm,
If if we saw her rolling on the ground out of the blue, okay,
mhm.
that is abnormal behavior. We'll probably get frightened or whatever. But if someone took out a phone, videoed her, and got 1 million views, that will become
That
viral.
would be yes.
So, and why would it get 1 million views? Because it will get 1 million attentions, 1 million worth of data, people watching worth of data. Advertisement could be pumped into that. You could get franchises off that on t-shirt, licenses on t-shirt and all of that, or even a whole, all these dances, a whole act based on her rolling. It's very banal, but that if it cannot be monetized, it cannot be profited from. Yeah, it's not normal. That is kind of the definition of normal today, which
That's the modern definition.
yeah, and it's quite interesting because are you still underwater? Or you? I can't hear you. You're with mommy water, yeah?
Oh, wait. Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
No worries. Yeah. So it's kind of like I don't know, but for me, it has become look, do it to feel good within. It doesn't need to generate money. It doesn't need to generate attention. Something within me needs to feel good that I am doing certain things that are normal to me. That is kind of my definition now of normal.
So, uh,
Oh, your audio is really
we are
bad.
really
It's kind of muffled and all of that. Is it in your shirt or something?
no. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I
No, it's
don't know
fine.
what's happened. Um, well, I guess then this is probably a good place to close it off. And I would say I agree with that statement. And what you're saying is that we should push for for normal to be more than just a self-serving act.
Yeah, normal has to be personal. Obviously, you know.
Bombaclad. These guys
So,
are spilling all the
I guess we're gonna close it now.
TJ and Campbell, interesting to blood clot, live on
Been an
YouTube.
interesting conversation.
That's it. That's it. Right. So, thank you.
I hope.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I just hope. I hope people have taken something positive away from it.
Yeah,
It's good to highlight these things so we can make positive change.
that's it. Thanks. Thank you for joining us on today's conversation at Akbarapa. And as you noticed, there were no breaks. So, yeah, we're making improvement. All right, then. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, and make sure you share these videos with your loved ones. Sharing is caring, and click on that notification button. It's been a pleasing plum pleasure from me, Campbell,
And me, TJ.
and see you next time.
Take care.